Activated.
Analyzing.
Update complete.
Before we delve into the Terran Empire, it is important to understand the Mirror Universe. The Mirror Universe exists on a dimensional plane that is parallel to that of the Prime Universe. It is called the Mirror Universe because generally the people in this universe are opposite their counterparts. This can also be attributed to places being different as well. It is interesting to note, though, that it is not a hard and fast rule. You will find people in the Mirror Universe that have similar attributes to that of their counterparts. Well, hell, indeed they appear to be the same people, just under different conditions. It's also the same for both events and places. As an example, when a transporter accident resulted in some of the crew of the Prime Universe Enterprise being brought to the Mirror Universe, McCoy noted that the sickbay looked different and things were in different places, but also that some of the things were the same, pointing out a place on a table where he had dropped acid in the Prime Universe. When looking through various resources and watching all of the Mirror Universe episodes, I couldn't necessarily find a rhyme or reason to what stayed and what did not. This does not, however, mean that there isn't a rhyme or reason to these events, just that it's not overt. It is also important to note that when looking into the Terran Empire, it appears that there are two different versions that play out in the various series. In the original series, the Terran Empire is a fascist government with an odd hierarchy that allows you to advance through murder. However, like the Federation, one's race nor species does not appear to play a vital role. Indeed, I didn't see any evidence of racism or xenophobia. In Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, and especially Discovery, this is not the case. The Terran Empire is a human-centric fascist government that has both racist and xenophobic tendencies. These two sides aren't diametrically opposed, of course. It is possible by the time of the events in the original series, Mirror Mirror, that the xenophobia and racism had waned somewhat. More likely, though, this was simply one interaction that we see and not reflective of most Terran Empire ships. Ironically, we can't be completely sure when the Terran Empire was formed. Archer, as an example, stated that the Empire existed for centuries, meaning if we go back from the events of Enterprise, it could have started as early as the 1950s. Or, again, even earlier. Apparently, in a deleted scene in Enterprise, there was an inference that polytheism was strong within the Terran Empire itself, and the gods that were named were that of the Roman Empire. So it is up in the air when it actually began. However, the first solid evidence of the Terran Empire we have comes in First Contact. We know that both the Prime and the Mirror Universe experienced first contact with the same people in their respective roles. The Vulcan's ship also appears to be the same, including its technology. It was assumed by the humans that the Vulcan's landing was a prelude to invasion. This being the Mirror Universe, it might have actually been the case. We simply don't know. But what we do know is that the humans would overrun the Vulcans and claim the ship for humanity. Earth would reverse engineer the technology of the vessel. With this advantage, Cochrane and the Terran Empire were able to expand rapidly in all directions. This would ultimately be disastrous for the Empire, however, as their expansion left them in a weakened position against the peoples they had conquered. It seems likely that Andorians and Tellarites would be the first to move against the Terran Empire, and Vulcans would ultimately join the rebellion afterward. With so many enemies, the Terran Empire would begin to lose most all major battles against the rebels, though Terran propaganda on Earth would make it appear as if the war was going well. Terrans would find salvation when a 23rd century vessel that had been brought from the Prime Universe by the Tholians, the USS Defiant, was recovered by a Terran Empire strike team. The tide had finally turned. After a brief coup in which Hoshi Sato gains control of the 23rd century vessel and forces the Terran Empire to recognize her as Empress, the Terran Empire gained the upper hand and was able to effectively force the rebels to retreat on all fronts. After this, at some point for some reason, the symbol of the Terran Empire would be transformed, modified. Now, instead of showing all of the Earth, it would only show the Western Hemisphere, which many speculate means that this is where the Terran Empire originated from. Yeah. We don't know a lot about the events beyond this until the mid-23rd century. The Terran Empire would continue to expand and would have brought most of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant under its influence. However, there would be an alliance of Klingons, Andorians, Tellarites, and possibly most all other races that would resist. At the time of this video, we don't have much more information on the rebellion, but it appears that it was not able to stand up to the Empire's superior technology, which makes sense. They did have technology from a 23rd century vessel. It is likely that they reverse engineered that technology. As an example of their superior firepower, an entire fleet of this alliance was dispatched by the ISS Discovery, apparently very easily. The Terran Empire would face uprisings constantly. One of the most notorious ones included the Gorlon. This uprising was put down by Captain James T. Kirk, in which he destroyed their homeworld. Though curiously, the Terran Empire would be transformed by a Vulcan, Spock. These changes would come after an encounter with the Prime Universe Captain Kirk, in which Spock admitted that it would only be some 200 years before the Empire would fall. Acknowledging that this was not logical, he would institute changes. Though, another intriguing piece of the puzzle here. Spock would institute a dramatic change from that of the fascist government, and these changes would be very popular among the Terrans. Generally, we consider the Mirror Universe to be the opposite, thus mirror, but it would appear that even the Terrans of the Mirror Universe have a benign side. Or perhaps they were as much oppressed as their alien counterparts. Either way, these changes also apparently included scrapping the Starfleet and not protecting against outward threats. A Klingon-Cardassian alliance would quickly sweep through the Terran Empire, reducing its forces and government to ashes. The Terrans would be enslaved, the Terran Empire destroyed. We wouldn't see Terrans rise again until the 24th century in the Terran Rebellion. While we do have evidence that the Terran Rebellion would once again become the Terran Empire, that's a lore for another time. The Terran Empire is an interesting study when you consider its actions. Personally, I find a fascist government, sans the racism and xenophobia, the most compelling. An authoritarian regime that clearly had a caste system, but anyone could rise in the ranks if you followed the government line? That's intriguing. This video will definitely be updated once Discovery has completed its run in the Mirror Universe, so for now, this is what we have. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you enjoy about the Terran Empire below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and guys, I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.